If taking a turn for the worst had to face, celebrity chat shows would definitely be it. From tipsy guests and repulsive anecdotes to feuding family members and horrible mix-ups, they've seen it all. On that note, in today's video, we're taking a look at 8 of the weirdest moments from the Graham Norton Show. Let's start with the time that Henry Cavill opened up about his favorite board game and Graham's sneery reaction to it. First up, the time Graham got Henry Cavill's favorite game wrong. If there's one thing most people know about Henry Cavill, it's that he's a lovable nerd. For anyone who disagrees, let's remind you that he almost missed the chance to play Superman because he was too busy playing, wait for it, World of Warcraft. Yeah, we wish we were making this up. Now, apart from online games like WoW, he also happens to be a huge fan of RPG board games. Do you by any chance remember when he was a guest on Graham Norton? This was around the time that he was promoting The Witcher's second season, just last year, if we recall correctly. If yes, then you might also remember how Norton quizzed him on his nerdy hobbies. It was during this quizzing that he confused one of Cavill's favorite pastimes with World of Warcraft, but Henry quickly corrected him and told him that it was in fact Warhammer 40,000, a miniature tabletop game that he enjoys. Following this, Norton asked him about the game's painting element. Basically, players can either paint the figures themselves or buy them pre-painted. Not just that, according to his explanation, players can put the said figures in armies and pit them against other people's armies as well. It's pretty cool if you ask us. But that's not what Graham had to say. He not only burst out laughing at the explanation, but also compared the game with toys. Yeah, no wonder the game's fans came for his neck. Moving on to when Mark Wahlberg came to the show drunk. There are moments that are funny, and then there are moments that are unintentionally funny. Mark Wahlberg's appearance on Graham Norton fits into the latter category. For those of you who didn't get to watch the episode before he dozed off on screen, a very drunk Wahlberg made it his duty not to let the other guests, Sarah Silverman or Michael Fassbender, finish any of their stories. While recounting the whole shebang on This Morning, Graham expressed that Mark probably didn't realize that he was too drunk. Let's also talk about Miriam Margolyes honestly reviewing Mamma Mia. Even though Mark had to be drunk out of his mind to be funny, there's one recurring Graham Norton guest who can do it sober, and really well at that. In case you haven't guessed yet, we're referring to none other than Miriam Margolyes. We don't know about you, but as far as we're concerned, part of Miriam's charm is that she doesn't filter any of her thoughts, not even when they could end up offending her fellow guests. That being said, one of the funniest instances of her saying exactly what she thought was when she told Mamma Mia star Dominic Cooper how much she hated the musical film. Upon being questioned if she had really seen it, she reinforced her original comment by saying that she had, and that it was dreadful. Yep, that's Margolyes for you folks. Anywho, this isn't the only hilarious moment involving her. We could make an entire compilation using her hysterical and often X-rated stories. Up next, Sinead O'Connor's album cover. This occurrence is more on the awkward side than on the funny side. Basically, when Sinead appeared on the show alongside Daniel Radcliffe, Graham brought out a copy of her newest album. But it turned out, and as she pointed out herself, it wasn't her album. To elaborate, it was something that the production team must have made instead of a real one. As awkward as this situation was for both at-home and live audiences, the singer laughed the entire situation off. What's more, Graham's experience with David Cassidy. In one of his interviews with Eamon Holmes and Ruth Langsford about his worst guests, Graham opened up about having the late actor David Cassidy on his show. From what we've gathered, even though Norton idealized him as a kid, he soon realized that the actor was both weird and bitter. When asked about what could have made him this way, the talk show host said that Cassidy probably hated that he was Cassidy. Coming up, when he messed up Elizabeth McGovern's name. We agree that to err is human, but when that error involves getting a celebrity's name completely wrong, it's highly funny. If you're confused, we're talking about the time Norton confused the Downton Abbey actress Elizabeth McGovern with Elizabeth Montgomery. Montgomery, just by the way, passed in 1995. See, it's pretty hilarious. McGovern, unlike Cavill with his favorite game, didn't correct him. When he was asked about this embarrassing moment later, he explained how he didn't realize his mistake till the show had ended. He said how he did notice a funny look coming over the actress's face when he first got it wrong, but she didn't say anything. As a result, Graham exclaimed that he liked her very much. Not to mention the Noel Gallagher mix-up. If you thought the mix-up with the name was the only one to occur on the show, you've got another thing coming. Jack Jack Black once mistook Noel Gallagher for his brother Liam. For those of you who don't know, the two brothers don't get along too well. Thankfully, the Oasis singer didn't take it the wrong way. Instead, he turned the awkward moment into a funny one by having his fellow stars wave to his brother, who he said would be watching. Let's also look into John Cleese's comments on Taylor Swift's cat. Okay, put on your seatbelts. We're drifting back into awkward territory. Actually, scratch that. What John Cleese said about Swift's cat wasn't awkward, it was outright offensive. Confused? It'll all make sense in a minute. We're talking about the episode where both Taylor and Cleese were invited as guests. We don't know if you'll remember, but we clearly recall that Cleese had something against Taylor from the get-go. He displayed the worst of this attitude while inquiring about Taylor's cat and how she had gotten into an accident. At one point in this exchange, he directly looked at the singer and said how cats were unpredictable, kind of like women. T-Swizzle, however, had had enough of this by then and sassily retorted with a, "Ooh, we don't want to do that. You tell him, Taylor." Now, before any of you Swifties go after Norton with a pitchfork, let's just say that he came to Taylor's rescue quite a few times. If you want to chew him out for something, chew him out for the time he accidentally made Richard Gere and his then-wife Carrie realize that Taylor hadn't recognized them despite having met them at the Golden Globes before. Moving on, Whoopi Goldberg discusses pubic hair. There are people who know exactly what to say on a talk show and what to keep locked up in a locker deep in the woods, but trust us when we say that Whoopi Goldberg isn't one of them. Like, why else would she discuss pubic hair on a talk show? Yep, if you're freaked out, imagine just how weirded out her fellow guests must have been at the time. Keanu Reeves and Jamie Dornan. If you're watching this video, our DMs are always open. You can tell us if sharing the couch with Whoopi keeps you up at night. Finally, Eddie Redmayne's sexual awakening story and Madonna's treatment of Sir Ian McKellen. Admit it or not, we all grew up obsessed with one fictional character or another. And get this, so did Eddie Redmayne. But while we were into 2D characters like Prince Zuko, Eddie, according to his Graham Norton interview, was obsessed with Nala from The Lion King. To quote, "I loved The Lion King when I was younger, and I had a weird obsession with Nala." Following this weirdly funny confession about his sexual awakening, Eddie did something characteristically Eddie. That is, he got all red-faced and flustered. But just his luck, the ever-so-wonderful Anna Kendrick came to his aid with an awkward story of her own. Now, while these two were wonderful to each other on the Graham Norton couch, that isn't always the case. Take Madonna's treatment of Sir Ian as an example. When the duo appeared on the show back in 2019, she was weirdly aloof with the actor. Not just that, she pretty much dissed the well-loved actor by asking him what he does. Yeah, she said this to Sir Ian McKellen, a man who, besides being a national treasure, also has a career that spans 6 decades. While we don't know how it must have made the actor feel, when it came to British audiences, Madonna's attitude gave them the impression that American celebs can be rather obnoxious and rude. All in all, she helped increase the simmering animosity that exists between celebrities, as well as the masses from the two sides of the pond. That's a wrap for this video. Can you think of some other awkward interviews on Graham Norton? Do you enjoy watching chat shows? If yes, how do you rate the Graham Norton Show? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next video.